Hi, welcome to QuickArts. My name is Rachel. I'm a self-taught oil painter based in Melbourne, and my work is inspired by colour and light in the natural world. Today, I'm going to show you my process for how I incorporate bright and unexpected colour into my paintings. First of all, let's talk about value. Value defines how light or dark a given colour can be. The best way to think about value is to imagine each colour on a black and white scale. When we do this, we see that colours that are very different to the eye actually have the same or very similar values. So what this means is that we can use any colour we like in a painting, so long as its value is correct. Let's look at this reference photo. If we convert it to black and white, we can see that the image actually has a diverse value scale, even though its colours are relatively neutral. Because we always work simple to complicated, our first step is to simplify this reference into two values, a dark or shadow shape and a light shape. The easiest way to do this is to just squint your eyes and let the different values blend together. Then identify the shadows as you see them. So now we're left with one dark shape and one light shape. From here, we can start reviewing that dark or shadow shape and cutting out small areas of lighter values. Eventually, we're left with a value block-in of our reference, and this block-in is what we're going to use to draw our image. Now it's time to start thinking about colour by observing our reference for colour temperature. Colour temperature is simply how warm or cool a colour is. If we split our colour wheel in half, we have cool colours and warm colours. Simple, right? Well, where it gets a little bit complicated is that each colour on the colour wheel has its own colour temperature. So, for example, if we look at our two blues, we have a cool blue, say a phthalo blue, and a warm blue, say an ultramarine. If we divided our colour wheel in half between those two colours, we see that one sits on the warm side and one sits on the cool side. Which side our colour sits on determines its temperature. So let's go back to our reference. What we want to do now is identify shifts in colour temperature within our value block-in. If we observe the reference, we see a lot of greys. So what we have to do is to try to identify the temperature and undertone of those greys. I've taken some as an example. So if we look at the top grey, it's warm with a purple undertone. The middle is cool with a pink undertone, and the bottom is warm with an orange undertone. Exactly like we did with the value block-in, we're going to do a colour block-in. Look for big shapes of colour and note those down. For example, you might end up with something like this. You can see over my value block-in, I've marked areas of colour, say green, yellow, orange, blue, and now it's time to paint. I like to start with a toned canvas, because for me, if my canvas is a mid-value, I find it easier to fit the colours I'm putting down within the image's value scale. I also like to work dark to light, so I generally block in my shadow shapes first. Once I have my shadows, I block in my midtones and keep working my way up the value scale to the lightest value we have. Remembering to work big to small and general to specific, once we have the big shapes blocked in, we can start experimenting with colour. And we can also start carving out those smaller light shapes, just like we did in the block-in phase. Now you have a base on top of which you can start having fun with colour. Take a look at your palette and see where you can add pops of colour into your value masses. Ultimately, keep going until you feel the piece is finished. And you should be left with a piece that's bright and vibrant and has an exciting use of colour. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helped you get some ideas about how to experiment with colour, and happy painting!